Sixers. Ibaka, here's Westbrook now, and a long-range three-pointer comes up short, and Perkins puts it back and counts, and it's tied!
How does a man who built an NBA career intimidating superstars now make a living analyzing their every move?
I want to know what happened because we haven't heard from Kevin Durant for us the breakup. Did he have thoughts? I got him blocked. I got him blocked.
Kendrick Perkins transformed from being one of the NBA's most imposing enforcers to one of its most outspoken personalities. And his journey from a farm in Texas to top-ranked high school recruit to NBA champion to ESPN analyst is unlike any other. This is the story of Big Perk, who proved that sometimes your greatest strength isn't what people see, but what they don't. Long before he was setting bone-crushing screens in the NBA, Kendrick Perkins was just a kid with uncommon size growing up in Beaumont, Texas. Born on November 10th, 1984, Perkins was raised primarily by his grandparents after his mother passed away when he was just 5 years old. His father, Kenneth Perkins, played basketball professionally in New Zealand, planting the seeds for his son's future. By middle school, Perkins already stood 6'4", and his imposing frame made him a standout at Clifton J. Austin High School, where he would become one of the most dominant high school players in Texas history. As a senior, he averaged 27.5 points, 16 rebounds, and 7.8 blocks per game, leading Austin to a 33-1 record and a state championship appearance. The combination of massive size, he grew to 6'10", and his raw power caught the attention of college recruiters nationwide. As a top 5 recruit, Perkins initially committed to the University of Memphis, but the NBA came calling, and the opportunity was just too good to pass up. In a decision that would forever alter his life's trajectory, Perkins declared for the 2003 NBA draft straight out of high school, the same legendary draft that produced LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Carmelo Anthony. The Memphis Grizzlies selected Perkins with the 27th overall pick before trading him to the Boston Celtics. And so at just 18 years old, with nothing but Texas high school basketball on his resume, Kendrick Perkins was headed to one of the most storied franchises in NBA history. But what happens when a small-town Texas teenager gets thrown into the pressure cooker of professional basketball? For Perkins, the answer wasn't quite what anybody expected. Perkins' first 3 years in Boston were hardly memorable. Struggling for minutes on an underwhelming Celtics team, the young center averaged just 3.8 points in limited playing time. Critics questioned whether he had what it takes to succeed at the NBA level. But then everything changed in the summer of 2007. The Celtics acquired superstars Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen to pair with Paul Pierce, instantly transforming Boston into championship contenders. While these future Hall of Famers grabbed headlines, the team still needed someone to do the dirty work, setting screens, protecting the rim, and intimidating opponents. That's when Kendrick Perkins found his NBA identity. Under coach Doc Rivers, Perkins embraced his role as the team's enforcer. His scowl became legendary, his screens notorious, and his physical play essential to Boston's defensive identity. What he lacked in offensive polish, he more than made up for with intimidation and basketball IQ. The 07-08 season saw the Celtics win 66 games en route to the NBA Finals against their bitter rivals, the Los Angeles Lakers. Throughout the playoffs, Perkins' defensive presence was invaluable, particularly against bigger centers like Cleveland's Zydrunas Ilgauskas and Detroit's Rasheed Wallace. And in the finals, Perkins' main objective was to help contain Lakers star Pau Gasol. When the final buzzer sounded in Game 6, the Celtics had won their 17th NBA championship, and Perkins, the once overlooked draft pick, was now an NBA champion at just 23 years old. The next 2 seasons would see Perkins further cement his reputation as one of the league's premier defensive big men. In 09-2010, he averaged a career-high 10.1 points to go along with 7.6 rebounds. And fast forward to the playoffs that year, and the Celtics were back in the NBA Finals for a rematch against the Lakers. This is where Perkins' career would face its most pivotal moment. In Game 6 of the 2010 Finals, with the Celtics up 3-2 and 1 game away from another title, Perkins suffered a devastating knee injury, tearing his MCL and PCL while landing awkwardly after a rebound attempt. Without their defensive anchor, the Celtics lost both Games 6 and 7, and the championship slipped through their fingers. Many in Boston still wonder, would the outcome have been different if Perkins had just stayed healthy? After returning from knee surgery, Perkins' time in Boston came to a shocking end. In February 2011, the Celtics traded him to the Oklahoma City Thunder, a young team led by Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook that needed exactly what Perkins provided: veteran championship experience and defensive toughness. Perkins' impact in Oklahoma City was immediate. The Thunder reached the Western Conference Finals his first season, and in 2012, they advanced to the NBA Finals, where they fell to LeBron James and the Miami Heat. Perkins had become a mentor to the Thunder's young stars, particularly center Serge Ibaka. Though his offensive numbers continued to decline, averaging just 4.2 points and 5.9 rebounds in 3 full seasons during his Thunder tenure, Perkins' leadership and defensive presence remained valuable. As the NBA evolved towards smaller, more versatile centers, Perkins' traditional post-defending skills just became less valued, and after brief stints with the Cleveland Cavaliers and New Orleans Pelicans, his on-court career wound down. He spent the 2017-18 season with the Cavs G League affiliate before officially retiring from playing in 2019. His final NBA statistics, 5.4 points and 5.8 rebounds per game across 14 seasons, hardly tell the story of his impact. Perkins wasn't about numbers. He was about winning, sacrifice, and making his teammates better through sheer force of will. But as one chapter was closing, another was about to begin. One that would bring Kendrick Perkins into millions of homes in a completely different way. The enforcer was about to find a different voice. When ESPN gave Kendrick Perkins a chance as an analyst in 2019, few could have predicted how quickly he would become one of the network's most recognizable and polarizing voices. The same directness that made him an effective enforcer on the court translated perfectly to television. Perkins didn't hold back, offering unfiltered opinions on players, coaches, and teams, sometimes to the dismay of his former colleague. His distinctive voice, memorable catchphrases, and willingness to make bold predictions quickly made him a fixture across ESPN's basketball programming. But not everyone appreciated his straightforward style. Kevin Durant, his former Thunder teammate, engaged in several very public Twitter spats with Perkins over the commentary. Yet even his critics couldn't deny that Perkins had found his second calling. Meanwhile, in his personal life, Perkins remained grounded. He married his longtime girlfriend Vanity in 2009, and together they've raised 4 children. Despite his newfound media fame, Perkins maintains strong ties to his hometown of Beaumont, Texas, often returning to hold basketball camps and community events. From a farm in Texas to NBA champion to ESPN's most outspoken analyst, Perkins' journey has been anything but conventional. But what does his story ultimately teach us about transformation and finding your true calling? Perkins' career reminds us that sometimes our greatest contribution isn't about personal statistics or individual success. It's about making others better. As a player, he sacrificed personal glory to help his teams win. As an analyst, he sacrifices popularity to speak his truth. The intimidating enforcer with the legendary scowl discovered that his most powerful weapon wasn't his size or strength, but his authentic voice. From protecting his teammates on the court to speaking his mind behind the mic, Perkins has always remained true to himself. And that's the takeaway. In a league of highlight dunks and scoring records, Perkins built a career and now a media presence on something far less glamorous but equally valuable: unwavering authenticity. In doing so, he's proven that sometimes the most impactful transformations happen when you simply embrace who you truly are. And that's the legacy of Big Perk.